Welcome to Hustle to Hero. We're on episode 5 and you are my first lady. We've got
Love
Alex
that.
Murphy. Is it Klein or Clean?
Klein.
Dancing on Ice champion. What other strategies do you do then in property? Is it only buy to let or do you do service accommodation?
The one in America started off as an investment, and then I was renting it half the year to family friends.
I feel like it's constant pressure with social media.
It is. And it's like you'll get left behind if you don't.
Yeah, you have to stay relevant.
I treat it as a 9 to 5.
You've had a stroke at 24.
Yeah.
Happened in Tenerife. Then they found out that you had a hole in your heart.
That morning, I actually got an email saying that I had been hired for the Dutch Dancing on Ice. My mom and I were like, we'll just come back to Miami in 3 months and we'll sort this out after the contract because I really want to do this TV show. And they were like, you will die. They're like, flat out, you will die.
Welcome to Hustle to Hero. We're on episode 5 and you are my first lady. We got
Love
Alex
that.
Murphy. Is it Klein or Clean?
Klein.
Klein.
Like
making-
Calvin.
Calvin Klein. There we
Yeah.
go. We have Dancing on Ice champion. Well,
Thank you.
we can call you that, can't we?
Yeah.
In my opinion, you are. I have watched your videos in a
Thank
non...
you.
Well, it is stalker because I did my research on you. So I wanted to start off with is how did you get on there? Did you do an audition? What did you do?
Yeah, so I actually was on the Dutch version of the show. And it's so funny because it was on Wikipedia back in the day. It was like, if you Googled Dancing on Ice, it popped up on Wikipedia. And then all like the Dutch version, the German version, the American version were all on there. And when Dancing on Ice was recasting to bring the show back in 2017, ITV started looking on Wikipedia and they took the winners. So they reached out to the winners. So I actually got a Facebook message, which is so funny.
What?
Got a Facebook message from a woman named Sophie Dowie that worked for ITV. And she was like, I saw that you won the Dutch version of the show. Would you like to come out and audition? Like, we'd love to, could you send in your tapes? I sent in my tapes. And then, yeah, they had me out to audition in Manchester.
I mean, like, I've seen how you perform on ice. I'm like, bloody hell, I can barely lift my leg up.
It's a strange skill to have.
Yeah, but you're so talented, especially
you.
because you've always wanted to do it when you was a child.
Yeah.
And then your mum pumped in your ice skating
Yeah.
and like all the lessons as well and everything because you're an only child.
Yeah,
Aren't
I am.
you?
Yeah, you did a good job.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you.
Stalking.
Yeah, I know. It's part of my duty to know who you are.
Yeah.
And so you've always had a passion for it from
Yeah.
such. How did you know? Did you watch something on like TV like Torval and Dean? Well, you don't have that in America and Boston.
Yeah, well,
was it Torval?
Torval and Dean, my mom grew up watching them. Like, they
Oh,
were
okay.
amazing. They were back when she was skating, But obviously, my mom's a skating coach.
Yes.
So it was like daycare. It was like, bring your child to work day, and she would just stick me in the corner. And then I started to take a liking to it and obviously like get kind of good. So she was like, oh, well, maybe we'll give her a lesson. And then as time went on, I just started asking for lessons not with my mom, but asking for lessons with other coaches.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. I think it just was in me since I was born because she was skating with me.
It's such
Yeah.
an art what you do. It really, truly is. Like I see, like because you dance with Joe Walsh.
Joe Swash,
Joe
yeah.
Walsh. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. And you also did Westlife. Is it Brian?
Brian McFadden, yep,
as well.
yeah.
And you also did Kem.
Kem Setner,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which one was your favourite?
It's hard to say, but I'm always going to say the favorite's the one that won.
Yes.
I don't think you can get away without saying that. Everyone's like, don't pick a favorite. I'm like, well, he won.
Yeah.
So he is my favorite.
Of course. So what did you like about him? Was it more like, did he listen more?
The thing I have to say about Joe is, all my partners were pretty good. I don't think that they love skating, but then they see how much you love it and you form a great relationship with them, and they sometimes want to win for you, and it's really lovely. And Joe's just a proper dad. So he was like, he was the first partner that I ever had that I felt like was kind of taking care of me.
Mm-hmm.
And I always was babysitting the other ones. But he was like, can I get you a water? Do you need something to eat? You haven't eaten today. And he's just, because he's a dad, he just knows how to take care of people. So yeah, he was a lovely partner to have. I'm very lucky.
Yeah, because I watched a clip on YouTube and I thought he's just so
He's
sweet.
lovely,
He's
yeah.
got such a golden heart as well. And I was just like, he's just like pure energy.
He was. And he was
Absolute
very,
pure.
he was talented. When he wanted to focus, he could focus. And he really respected the sport. I have to say, he respected me and he respected the sport, and he didn't want to waste my time. And that was like just so lovely, because sometimes you have to go, come on, try again. Like, you're not that tired. And he never complained. And I think he fell in love with skating, to be honest. I think he loved it. So I think that helps.
Does he still continue doing it now? Do you know?
For every Christmas I get a, hey Al, I went skating. But I get that from Kem too sometimes. So so every now and then when they go skating, they want to like show me and remind me that they were on the show and they were really good.
That's good though. At least you've lost a long lasting impression, which is brilliant.
That is lovely.
That's fantastic.
Great memories.
And also you met your husband on Celebrity Coach Trip.
I did. I met
and that's
him.
like in front of everyone.
That was weird. That was like my first meeting with him, my first like everything. The first time I ever was introduced to him is on TV. So I can go back and watch it whenever I want. I don't, but I could if I wanted to. It's strange to think that.
But it's it's most beautiful because you see loads of like reality stars and you see quite, well, in the UK particularly, it's a bit of a drama fest around
Love
here.
Island. And,
my God, I don't even get me started about Love Island.
Celebrity Coach Trip is not a dating show. That was not supposed to happen.
I know. At least it did though. The universe worked in your favour and it absolutely... Well, you must have had the love frequency for one another for it to work.
It was weird. We were like the only single ones on, and we got on there, and I just knew, I had this gut feeling. I was like, they're going to set me up with someone on here. And I stepped onto the bus, and I was like, oh, that's so funny. And then within seconds, everyone was like, oh my gosh, those two. And I didn't see it. He didn't see it. And now we're married and have a dog and a house. And
oh, so beautiful. Your dog is fluffy.
Yeah, he's gorgeous.
He's so fluffy. I saw your dog and I was like, because you did this, I think it was a TikTok when you bounced on your bed.
Probably.
Yeah. And I thought he's so fluffy.
He's lovely.
Is he a chow chow?
He is. He's so cute. He's like a dream. He's annoying and perfectly annoying. Like we give him way too much. We spoil him. So
it's okay. It's your baby.
He's
He's your fur baby. He's your fur baby. So what I'm going to delve into now is about, because obviously you've had a stroke at 24.
Yeah.
Happened in Tenerife.
Yeah.
You flew to Miami because then they found out that you had a hole in your heart, which was a condition. I can't remember. Is it? I'm not even going to bother.
It's called PFO. It's a patent form in OVAL, but it's just a fancy name for saying that you were born with a hole in your heart.
And you didn't know about your hole in your heart?
And none of my family knew about it either. My mom has it. She was tested after me. And then my dad has it as well. And he was tested after me, but they misdiagnosed it. And a year and a half after my stroke, he had a stroke.
No.
So it was really like, it was just such a strange 2 years when I look back on it. I'm like, ugh.
But you know when you had your stroke, because you like recovered miraculously, didn't you?
Yeah.
Like you started, because you lost speech.
Yeah.
You did lose your speech and like writing, just everything, because you collapsed, didn't you?
Yeah, what happens is when you have a stroke, it affects different people differently. So there's two types of stroke. There's a brain bleed and there's a brain clot or a blood clot. Mine was obviously a blood clot. And it's bizarre because some people lose certain things and other people lose, they lose their ability to walk and they lose their ability to speak. And some people lose maybe they can still speak and tell you something's wrong, but they can't move their right arm. It's so strange how it affects you, and it depends on which part of your brain it is. So for me, mine was the left side of my brain, so it was the right side of my body. So my whole right side went numb, couldn't move, face drooping, everything. And then I didn't speak for like 8 hours at all. Couldn't read, couldn't write, couldn't communicate at all. I was like completely in a bubble. And then over time it came back because I was actually working on cruise ships and there was a medical ward on there and they gave me Valium. They shot me up with Valium, and Valium is a blood thinner that happened to break up the blood clot.
Well, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, good luck. It was like good timing, yeah.
Yeah, so how long were you out for? Was it about a month?
Yeah, so I was like, it was so bizarre. The morning that they found out in Florida, we were at the University of Miami, and the morning that they found out that I had a hole in my heart, so I had this last test. It was called a transesophageal echo. That morning, I actually got an email saying that I had been hired for the Dutch Dancing on Ice. So we tried to get out of it. My mom and I were like, we'll just come back to Miami in 3 months and we'll sort this out after the contract because I really want to do this TV show. And they were like, you will die. Like, flat out, you will die. We need to figure out what is wrong. You don't just have a stroke. And they did this final test where they put a tube down your throat and they check your heart with like a camera and all these things. And they were like, okay, well, now we know what the cause is. So that's good. And they're like, but you need heart surgery. And I was like, I'll come back in a few months. And they were like, no, you won't. You're being admitted now. And I was like, okay. So I was admitted, and then I was cleared to skate 3 weeks after. Yeah,
My
which didn't tell anyone.
God. That's just like 3 weeks, and you had like major heart surgery.
Luckily, science is amazing now, and they would have gone through like they would have broken your ribs and opened you that way like 6 years before I had my procedure. But they have this procedure, it's a keyhole procedure that's called, I think it's laparoscopically or something, where they go through 4 holes in your femoral arteries. So they just go through and they just fix it. They put a piece in. So I would think I was in surgery for like 3 hours, not even. It was like really fast.
Jesus.
I was in there for 2 days. That was it. And then I walked right out.
What, admitted you was in hospital for 2 days?
Yeah,
and they released
I think I was
you?
overnight twice. Yeah, 2 nights overnight.
Oh my God.
It was quick. It was
you wouldn't get that in the UK.
Yeah. It was fast, let me tell you. They were like, she's in, she's out. I was like, all right.
Blimey.
Yeah.
So what did you do for recovery then? Did you have to like, you must have done something like some sort of physiotherapy.
It was hard. Physically, everything was okay. Like I was moving. I was, the doctors were checking everything. I was speaking. I was slurring my words a lot. And like a table was a shoe. And like I got this stuffed dog. Someone gave me a stuffed dog and like, in the hospital, and I kept calling it a monkey. And like I just couldn't put words to things, couldn't put faces to names a bit. But it all came back, which is crazy. So I did relapse, and we thought I was having another stroke a week after it because I couldn't figure out the feelings in my hands and my feet because it's still numb now. Like it's still a little bit tingly now. And, after they kind of rechecked me out and they cleared me to skate, I had about 2.5, 3 weeks, 2 weeks at home in Boston. And it was really hard. I almost didn't go. I think back to it now, I'm like, my mom made me go. I almost said, I'm not doing this.
Loved it,
Yeah.
Not only that, you've had a cancer scare as well, haven't you?
Oh God, I've had so much. I found a car crash. I'm like, well, I think it's like every woman, I'm sure, like touch wood, hopefully it never happens again. But every woman, I feel like goes and then they check you, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you need a biopsy. And then the next thing. So I've actually, 2 years in a row had biopsies back to back. And
see, I had a tumor in my ankle.
Oh, bless you. Did you get removed?
Yeah. So it was completely like threw me off because they said it was a sprained ankle and not only
swollen.
but it wouldn't go, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then I was like, something's not right. I was kicking up a fuss, and it literally took them under 2 years to diagnose me. And then they were like, yep, you need to go for a biopsy for cancer. Found out it was precancerous cells, and I was like, what?
Get it out.
And then they scheduled me in. Boom, they're like, yeah, we're so sorry, it's PVNS. And I was like, oh. Yeah. And I've got a photo on it. I'll show you after this podcast, but I'll show you. It's like a little steak casserole in my
bless you.
And it was there. I called it Squishy.
Squishy.
Because it was like literally, it was like a chunk like that in my ankle. And like I couldn't believe it. Like, this is all because I've sprained my ankle and it was formed. It's just like growing outwards.
But I think that's why it's so important to advocate for yourself when, I think I've spent a lot of, definitely post-stroke, advocating and for myself, like, and not, I don't want to say don't listen to your doctors. Obviously listen to your doctors, but pushing for things. Because I think,
absolutely,
especially as women, when something's wrong.
And the thing is, they make you feel like, well, in the UK, I'm not slating the NHS, all right? I know you're a bit strange, but let me just tell you something now, okay? I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
And I knew it. I knew it was in my body. I knew that. And I thought, I'm not a hypochondriac.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be going purple.
Yeah.
I mean, 15 months, it's not a sprained ankle.
Yeah.
Why is it feeling like squishy and, like I was prodding it, and I'm like, what is that? Like, and I was looking at my ankle, and like there's a picture before and after my ankle, and you can see over time of where it's actually gotten bigger.
How it's changed.
Yeah, it's changed, and it became like a bit of a balloon, like a pocket of fluid, really.
Yeah.
But it was actually a tumour. And I said that to when a doctor said, I have been begging you to get it like checked. They put me into x-rays, missed the x-rays, lost my files and everything. And I couldn't believe it. I had 5 MRIs in 1 year.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can't do that because it's radiation.
I think what's so hard is like, when they misdiagnosed my dad's hole in his heart. So basically they said to my mom, you have a hole in your heart. It came from your side of the family. Live on an aspirin and change your diet. Now go completely paleo, heart healthy. Like, my mom is a tiny little thing. She didn't have to worry about it, but they were like, don't gain weight as you get older. She was 57 at the time. And then they said to my dad, like, you know, go about your life. Like, you're fine. And then a year and a half later, he has a stroke. And I was so angry that he was misdiagnosed. I was furious. I was like, Dad, you can sue everybody. I was so mad because I just kept thinking to myself, if you had told him that, we wouldn't be going through this. Now we're going through 2 strokes in 2 years as a family. I'm like, this is not normal.
No.
And my dad just was like, Alex, I'm lucky to be alive. I don't care. And I was like, I have to live like that.
Wow.
That is the right way to live, though.
Yeah.
That is like human error is.
I know, but
doctors are humans. You know, it's human error.
Like,
you know,
I understand that and I acknowledge that, but I do think there's a fine line when it's multiple doctors are saying the same thing, because it wasn't just one doctor for me; it was 4.
Yeah, that's hard.
And I'm like, whew,
I know.
whew. But definitely, because I know you're a big advocate being a stroke survivor.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, do you go do charity work? What do you do? Like, how do you create awareness?
So I do a lot of charity work because most people think strokes happen to old people.
No.
So they're like convinced, you know, and every time someone sees me, they're like, no, you didn't. And then I tell them my whole story and then they're like, really? Like, nobody really believes at seeing me right away that I would have had a stroke. So it's kind of like it's a good way to get into the room, if that makes sense. So a lot of, you know, I work with a company called Same You. It's a charity organization that Amelia Clark runs. I work with Different Strokes, which does a lot of peer-to-peer counseling. I work with Style for Stroke. I was just at the Melissa Bell Foundation, Alexandra Burke's one. And they're amazing charities. And what's great in the UK is that you guys have so many charities that can work in different ways. So Different Strokes does peer-to-peer counseling. So I might mentor someone who's younger than me that's had a stroke. And then I might speak at an event and tell my story, and that gets people to donate. And then so it's kind of, I just kind of am a jack of all trades with that. I'm happy to share my story because I'm lucky to be able to do so.
And you're lucky to be alive.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know
and
that?
not many people come out of their stroke being able to speak.
Exactly.
So I know that.
Yeah, so my dad had a stroke.
Did he?
Yeah,
Oh,
and he had
bless him.
bleeding on the brain. And
Aneurysm, yeah.
it was like, wow. And he was only 49, going for his
Yeah.
for 50th birthday, and it was in COVID time as well.
Oh,
so
the
it
worst
was
time.
really
Yeah.
hard. So we couldn't see him at the hospital, and from that completely changed him.
Yeah.
You know, because he lost so the stroke happened on his left side, so it affected his right with the bleeding on the brain. But obviously the bleeding on the brain, that his brain cells will never come back because of that stroke. But he had to learn everything again. And just seeing that, it completely broke me, to be honest with you, because it does knock you for 6, because you can either be disabled from it, but luckily he's okay.
Can you move? Can you walk? And
Yeah.
It's fortunate.
It's just it was just a very long process, a very, very, very long process.
It's a long process, and the one thing I really don't like about the system here is there's a very negative approach towards it. So they'll say 6 weeks, the best that you are after 6 weeks, and that's it. And then they'll go like, that's it. They're going to rehab you for 6 weeks, and then they send you home. The best I've ever been was like my 3-year mark.
Really?
Like, I genuinely felt for like 3 years I wasn't even myself. So I'm always like, no. Every time a survivor says to me, you know, and then 6 weeks, and then they kicked me out of rehab, and now I'm just, you know, I've got spasticity in my arm and I can't walk. And I'm like, you're only 6 weeks in. And they, unfortunately, and I don't know if it's just because the system is overwhelmed or what it is, or maybe they just don't know. Maybe there's not enough research, but speaking from experience, 3 years in is the best now I feel like myself.
Yeah, it's just like with my dad, when he had his stroke, it took him years. Like, it's only just, you know, you don't, like, your first 6 months, you're not you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not, especially when you have bleeding on the brain. And when he did have bleeding on the brain, it's a different ball game, Alex. It really is, because I'm thinking, Dad, like, you know, you're going to get through it, but it's a journey, and it's a never-ending journey, in my opinion, because I've seen my dad, right? And I'm like, every day you're just going to have to take it.
Yeah, every day you wake up and you don't forget that you had a stroke. Like, it's really hard to explain. People are like, oh, you know, but you're fine now. I'm like, it doesn't mean I don't wake up at 7 o'clock every morning and go, yeah, it's still there. Like, you just do. You naturally wake up and go, yeah, fingers and toes, everything, because you couldn't feel them. If I fall asleep on my arm, I start to panic. If there's, you know, I'm driving and I start to like get tired, I start to panic. Like, there's so many symptoms, and it's just, it's just learning to cope with it. But I also think that if the NHS or if any doctors in general could tell people, don't worry, it's not over after 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it give a lot of hope.
Massively.
I think there's just not enough hope to a lot of survivors. I meet a lot of survivors, and that's the first thing I tell them is don't listen to what they say. 6 weeks is nothing.
It's just like a starting.
Yeah.
If anything, I personally think it's just the starting.
Yeah, it's the beginning, definitely.
It is 100%.
Yeah.
So what do you do then? So like, do you do like ice baths? Like, how do you keep yourself in tip-top shape? Because you're an athlete.
Funny. I've done the ice bath before. When I was training, we used to do it. It's really funny on Dancing on Ice. I always think this is hilarious. I didn't really do ice baths and things like that. And on Dancing on Ice, we used to, when we were on tour the first year, they'd put the bin, the bin boxes. What do you guys call those? Bin. Well, you put your bins in. We don't do that in the
Wheelie
States.
bins.
Wheelie bins. Yeah.
Wheelie bins, yeah.
And they'd fill them with ice, and we'd like climb up a stepping stool, and we would all get in them up to here. And that was like after the show, and I was like, that's amazing. I thought that was hilarious. So we did that after every show, and they do help. They definitely statistically help. But for me, I do a lot of walking. Mine was more cognitive than physical. So I did get a lot of my physicality back. My equilibrium wasn't great for a while, but like balance and things. But I'm a skater, so it came back. And, I wasn't maybe the skater I was before my stroke, but I think I was a better performer after my stroke.
You won Dancing on Ice.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just different. Like, we placed yourself. It's like, being an ex-athlete, and then everything changes after it. So it's like life before stroke and life after stroke. They're not the same person. And I'm sure you've experienced that with your dad too.
Yeah, like he's a lot more emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah,
me and my dad as well, yeah.
Yeah, and also with like driving, he can't drive long distance because it tires him out.
Yep.
Concentrating, just even like just little things. Like I worry about like if he did a bit of gardening, for instance, and I'm like, oh, I'll just panic. Like don't do that, or just just in case something might trigger it, or if he gets a bit stressed with a bit of DIY, I'm like, don't
stress yourself out. I know, don't get anxious. Yeah. I know my mom's got both of us, so she's got my dad and me, and I think sometimes it's harder for the carer.
Yeah,
sometimes it's harder for the people that it affects because it's really weird. You're not your same self. That's why Same You is about is you're not your same self, and you're going through it internally in your brain, and you're like, why do things not feel the same? Why am I angry? Why am I sad? Why am I crying over a commercial? Like, you don't even know sometimes when it's going to come on. And I think sometimes it's really hard for the people around you because they don't, what are they supposed to do? They don't know.
Yeah.
They're not used to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, over time it does get better, though. And I always just try to say that to as many survivors as I can, that it's going to get better. Don't rush it, and don't listen to when they say it's not going to get better after 6 weeks.
100%. So, shall we talk about property?
Sure.
Let's talk about
things
property.
like that. I love that.
And we can go down a rabbit hole after.
Yeah. Well, it's really funny because when I bought my first property, it was June of the year that I had my stroke in November. So oddly enough, my first property that I bought in Florida, I ended up rehabbing in my brand new house that I'd never been in.
Oh,
which
wow.
is so strange, isn't that? Yeah.
Whereabouts
that's where my surgery was.
Where is
Boca.
it? Oh, nice.
Yeah, Boca Raton in Florida.
And you still got it now?
Yeah. Love it.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo on the water. I bought it when the recession hit. It was 2012. So it was just like really bad. So it was the right time to buy, obviously. And yeah, and I've had it since then, and I love it. It's really nice. Yeah.
So what else have you got? Any other properties?
I also bought a property here in the UK. It was an investment, and I just thought, future-proofing for myself and my husband and my parents. I want my parents to be here as often as they can be. And I didn't want them to want to stay in a hotel if they wanted to stay for like a couple weeks. And I think parents don't ever want to infringe on their children. And we would say, come stay with us. And
I don't know, Indian parents are different, dear.
Yeah. Well, they stayed for 2 weeks and they were like, we're not doing that again. And I was like, oh, I think I have to buy you something. So yes, we did that.
So what other strategies do you do then in property? Is it only buy to let, or do you do service accommodation? Because the one in America...
Yeah, so the one in America started off as an investment, and then I was renting it half the year to family friends, and then I ended up just like it's like rented through my family. So my mom and dad are in it most of the time, and then my mom and dad are in the one here when they come over. Right now, it's a mistake, if I'm honest. I need to be letting it out, but nobody's in it. I use it as an office space a lot of the time to shoot content and to just like not work from home, if that makes sense now. But it
Yeah.
needs to be rented. It needs to be Airbnb, to be honest. Anyone wants one?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There's your plug.
Yeah.
So you make more money now on social media than you did as a ice skater.
Yeah, I do.
How do you feel about that? Because I'd be a bit, because if you're like, you're beyond talented.
Oh, thank
Seriously. And like making more money on social media, I'd be like, mate, I've put all the time and effort in. I'd find it, like, for me personally, I'd find it a bit heartbreaking.
It's hard because, you know, like, skaters get paid and we do well. And like the jobs that I've had have been amazing jobs. And I always like, you know, you always were trying to do the next thing as a skater to get danger pay, we call it. So I was learning backflips before I had my
I saw
stroke.
the twizzle thing. That
Yeah,
you did,
like you try to get as dangerous as you can because they pay you more for it. But there's kind of a cap to a skater. There is a cap to, as I'm sure within any job, like what level you can get to and how much money you make. And like I didn't leave skating to want to make more money elsewhere. I was forced out. And so when it came down to it and I was like, okay, well, what's my next career move going to be? I had property that I had bought in Florida. This time I just had the Florida home. And I had bills and I had like life to pay. I was renting at the time and I was like, well, I need to find a career. And I knew that there was scope in social media. And my husband obviously is in social media.
He's a YouTuber, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's on another level. So he was like, Alex, you'd be great at this. Just give it a go. And it was COVID and it was the right time, right place, right everything. But it's such hard work. Like some days I look at it and I'm like, I wish I would give anything to go back on tour right now and just be nothing but an ice skater and just go to work and put on a pretty dress and do what I love to do. But this is hard. Like it's a
hard.
grind. Yeah.
It is, because oh my God, my social media is
It's a grind.
It is a grind. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't posted in 48 hours.
Yeah.
And I've got to be active.
Yep.
And I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's constant pressure with social media.
It is. And it's like you'll get left behind if you don't.
Yeah, you have to stay relevant.
Yeah.
You have to stay
If you don't
relevant.
stay on every day, you will get left behind. And
Yeah.
I treat it as a 9 to 5. So it's like, you know, I treat everything as a 9 to 5 the same way I would have treated skating. When I was skating, I still got up early in the morning. I would train, I would walk, I would do my skating sessions, I'd do my off ice sessions, I'd eat right, like, because it was always training for the ultimate goal. So this, you have to be really disciplined to just say, I get up at 7:30, I take myself to whatever it is, the gym or a walk or something. But while I'm on it, I'm emailing and I'm doing, you know, I'm constantly on it. And it does become an obsession, which isn't great, but
it's constant dopamine, isn't it?
Yeah, we're on it all the time, aren't we?
I feel frazzled because when John Lee was on my podcast and we're talking about like EMF and everything, like constantly frazzle McBazzle.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you do a detox? And this was offset after we'd done our podcast. And he goes, no, Jem, doesn't make me money. And I was like, see, I love not looking at my phone. I am terrible. I
know.
I just love putting it on Do Not Disturb.
Oh, see, I'd love to be able to do that, but I kind of think the way that he does, and I think when you're freelance, you work for yourself, and it's your business and it's your baby. You can't ever shut off. I don't think many people do.
I do it for 2 hours, and I have properties, and I'm like, oh my God, I've just missed this. Airbnb, inquiries, and I'm like, I just want to.
It's hard to shut off. It is hard to shut off. And I think, you know, day and age, like where we're at, and our ages, like we're young, and I think now's the time to work.
Yeah.
So I always try to stay, like, it's a 9 to 5. Do I have any time off? No. Does my husband? No. But we're at this point in our lives when we can do that to set ourselves up for the future. So I think that's where we're kind of,
I think also you did this carnivore diet. You did 80 days. What happened? Like, why?
Today's day 90.
Is it? Are you still doing it?
Yeah.
Like, because I went on YouTube, I had like day 82, and I was like, where's 83, 84?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're all on there.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Why did you do it?
So podcasting, right? So my husband in December was like, we were watching Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan talked about the best he ever felt was that he was on a carnivore diet, eating simply meat, and he felt amazing. And my husband was like, I've got such brain fog. And as a stroke survivor, I have brain fog. They said that I was going to have it for the rest of my life. And I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue. And chronic fatigue for some people can be debilitating. Like it can be, you can't get out of bed. I have chronic fatigue is what they diagnosed me with, but I still always managed to like drag myself out of bed. And I think that was the athlete in me. Sometimes I would have like a busy day, like a day like today, and then tomorrow I'd really struggle. And at like noon, I'd be like, I have to take an hour-long nap. And I didn't like that. So I said, okay, well, let's like look into this, whatever it is, this carnivore diet. We looked into it and started seeing all the benefits. So I said, all right, well, I'll make something funny of it. I'll do a week's worth of content on it. So it's something fun that we'll do together. It was in January when everything sucks in January. So I was like, all right, well, let's just make it worse for ourselves. So we did it for a week. And that first week was extremely hard. And I felt horrible. Day like 5 and day 3, I was like headaches and just awful. And then after day 7, I was like, kind of feel good. And then my husband was like, let's just do one more week. So we did one more week. And I was like, well, all right. By day 30, I was like, I feel the best I've ever felt. Why do I feel so good? I'm on day 90 now. Today's day 90. And I'm like,
congratulations.
I'm like, how am I going to get off of it? I'm like, I don't think I'm ever coming off of it.
So what do you, so you don't have no like sugar?
No sugar, no carbs.
No carbs, no cheese?
Carbs are in everything. Cheese, you can have cheese.
You can have cheese.
So like I had today chicken and cheese for lunch.
Oh, that's nice.
And it was lovely.
You can't eat lettuce then?
No vegetables, no fruit.
Vegetables.
I think eventually maybe I would go to what they call like dirty carnivore. You might have like berries or something. But like if I'm going to cheat, I'm not cheating with a raspberry. Like, it's definitely not happening. I was like, that's not a cheat I want. But I feel the best I've ever felt. My skin feels really good. My husband like is in the best shape he's ever been in.
Really?
So yeah, it really, really did change. And we did it with 2 of our friends as well. So there's a 4 of us and we're like, how do you feel today? Like, and everyone started it a little bit after us. And yeah, we've got a lot of people on it now, which is so funny.
So me and my partner, so he does his bulking and leaning because he's got like a coach, and he does like 160 grams of mince, 100.
Oh yeah, he's good on it.
100. I do his meal prep. So and I did it for 2 weeks, and I can tell you now, it was. I have no.
It's hard.
I have no discipline. I love bread. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a fatty. All right.
Like, I love carbs. You know what? I
love
didn't realize I was addicted. Like I did not realize I was as addicted that I was. Like I was like, I'm fine. I can do this. And then I was like, why am I getting like withdrawal symptoms and headaches and feeling horrible? I'm like, that's a sugar withdrawal. Even though you think that you eat healthy, like it's a sugar withdrawal. I'm like, we're all addicted to everything. So just stopped, like no Diet Coke, no anything.
See, I don't drink any of that. So I'm very good at that. But for me, I'm a picker. So I like me olives. I like me cheese. Yeah. I like
you can have a charcuterie board. You just can't have the olives.
Fair, I can have that. And then I like get the I've been out of the craving's been really weird, like chilies. Yeah. I'm loving chilies at the moment. Eating mess. I love a cookie.
Yeah.
I love my cookies.
But it's so weird. So you get to a certain point in it and then you don't crave it. Like there was a point where I was like, oh my God, I'd kill for a piece of chocolate. And then like 15 days goes by and all of a sudden you're like, I haven't thought about that. Like I couldn't care less about a piece of cookie or cake if you stuck it in front of me right now because I'm 90 days in. Yeah. And I haven't cheated and I just don't want it. But I do crave like steak. Like I said to my husband, I'm like, you make steak when I get home tonight. Like
nice.
who craves that?
I do, you know what, I do eat steak quite a lot.
Do you?
I do.
Good for you.
I love exactly that's what I was thinking.
It is,
I was
good for the baby.
I'm like, I need steak again. I need a steak. I definitely need a steak. I want meat. I want something.
Something substance.
I need a bit of.
Yeah.
So, do you have any cryptocurrency?
So this is so bad. My husband's really into it. And I'm trying to get into it. I wish I was more knowledgeable about it. I did get Ethereum when it was all the rage to get it. Yeah. And then what's the other one?
XRP.
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
XRP. Sorry, we got XRP too.
Yeah.
And so we were like he's better at it than I am, obviously. But when we were going through all of it, trying to figure it all out, I'm like, it's quite a minefield, isn't it? And
it is a bit.
Yeah, I'd love to know more about it. Because I feel like it's going to be the way of the future.
It is. I feel like cash is going to be gone.
Me too. And I'm like convinced and like scared that there's going to be like a cyber attack and we can't find all of our cash.
Oh my God. So like now I'm going to go into this rabbit hole. I've seen it on Simpsons.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, where's all of it?
Right. Yeah. So like I've seen this on Simpsons. We're going to have a massive blackout.
Oh, don't. Touch wood. Heaven forbid.
No, do you know what? No. Honestly, me and my partner, we had a blackout. And it only lasted for 4 hours, but still, it was just
still blackout. Yeah.
It was still a blackout. And then at my mum's, a week later, they had half a day of a blackout.
Don't.
Then it happened 2 weeks later again, and I was like, they're preparing us. And then on the news it says, oh, we don't have enough electricity for the whole country.
Don't.
And I was like, okay, so we're going to have a blackout. Trump said it off. We don't have enough electricity. So for
Don't
America,
say it.
no, but I'm being honest. I've been down the rabbit hole. I've seen
know.
it on Simpsons because it always happens. Like when Queen Elizabeth died and it was aired before she died, it got the date right. And I'm thinking,
Simpsons did. Oh, don't say that. That
and
gives me anxiety. They did get Trump going down that escalator too, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, okay, we need to watch another bit of episode now, so I know what's going to happen.
I'm gonna have to watch some Simpsons.
I know, and I was just thinking to myself, well, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I need to get a backup generator. Maybe you need to get one as well.
Yeah.
Because I do think the next one is because they're going to try and do everything about sustainability, even though the geoengineering, like you look up in the sky, it's like noughts and crosses. Right, they're spraying up the sun. They want to try and dim it. They're going to do this cyber attack. They're going to wipe it out. They're going to go cashless.
We are
society.
cashless now, I think, pretty much. I mean,
I don't believe in it because I only go to restaurants. If I don't take cash, I'm walking out.
That's clever of you, to be honest, because I'm guilty of it. I definitely.
How dare you?
I just carry a credit card, I know, and it's so bad.
Alex,
we shouldn't be.
You need to stand with us.
I know. I agree. I agree that it's bad if we become. I just don't think it's a good idea for us to ever become cashless, obviously.
Yeah. But you're not helping if you're not taking cash out.
I know because we're lazy. Like I'm a millennial. I'm like, oh, I'll just tap that.
I'm a millennial.
So that's what I mean. But I'm like, oh, I'll just like tap on that. But it's better because you know what's so funny is Gen X. So my cousin is like 10 years older than me. She carries cash. And I'm like, loser. Like, and it's really funny because we're the reason why it's gone so cashless.
You are the problem.
I know. I am the problem. I agree.
Do you know what? Because I do take cash out. And if I literally, if coffee shops is like, oh no, it's only card, I'm like, I'm walking out.
Yeah.
Restaurant, me and my partner, they don't take cash. We're out.
I know.
My mum's the same. My brother's the same. We love cash.
So what then do you think of crypto because it is so digital?
Well, you're always going to have some, aren't you?
Yeah.
Even gold, you're going to have blocks of gold. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have a diversified sort of portfolio. You're going to have a bit of crypto. You're going to have a bit of gold. You're going to have a bit of silver. You're going to have a bit of this. You know, I'd rather have all of that.
That's why it is kind of nice to have money in properties because they're assets. Like it's just like you can't.
Yeah.
You can physically hold it. Do you know what I mean? It's things that are physical, I think.
The government can't really take off your house if you own it. Do you know? I mean, look what happened to Andrew Tate, but you know.
Oh, don't. That's another rabbit hole.
Oh my God, we could be here.
I know, all day.
I'm going to have to get you on the second podcast.
I know.
Right.
I'll come back.
Thank you. But thank you for being my first lady.
Oh, it's nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, definitely. I feel like we could just talk about blackouts. You know, do you know about the 2030 agenda?
No, I don't. Go on.
Davos, World Economic Forum agenda. So
Go
it's
on.
all so basically the push in ESG, economic social governance. So everything that you do will have a social credit card which is linked to your
I've heard this, yes.
Yes, vaccination equals to your pay per mile on a car.
Yeah.
Right. So everything is all digitalized and that's the 2030 agenda basically. So you have no privacy and you can only go into certain restaurants when you have your social credit score at a certain number, like a credit.
Well, it's like, have you seen Black Mirror?
Oh, I've seen some of
Black
it.
Mirror.
Yeah.
So there's an episode of Black Mirror where there's a girl that goes in there and they scan them as people and like on their phone, like scan them as people. And you can only go somewhere by your point system. So they see like a hologram by her head and it's like, you know, she's 6 out of 10. She can't go into that store or she can't go into that.
You know what? It's literally truth in plain
sight. It's
a bit
scary, isn't it?
It is literally what they're trying to do. It's like the karmic retribution, the Illuminati. Oh, I said it. I'm going to... They're going to probably shadow ban this, but I don't care. But anyway, it's amazing to have you on, Alex. Thank you for being my first lady.
Thanks for having me. I loved it. It was great.
It's brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.